Opportunity to talk with you this morning. Really appreciate it. I am the lucky person to be the superintendent of the San Mateo Foster City School District. It's a new position for me. I've just been in it 6 months. So I have been in this district before and am now back and just thrilled to see the things that are going on. It is an exciting district to be part of. Our district serves San Mateo and Foster City, and we have 20 schools. So our schools do go from TK to 8th grade, and then our kids go into the high school district. So we feed into Aragon, Hillsdale, San Mateo High School, basically. And we have 14 elementary, 2 K-8, and 4 middle schools, 12,500 kids, and growing. It's growing by 200 students a year. This place is a wonderful place to live, and families want to come here and bring their kids to our district. It's wonderful for us, but it has its challenges. And Michelle will speak just briefly about our staffing.
So we actually have almost 1,200 employees by the time you look at our teachers, our certificated, our managers, our classified staff, and our contracted employees and those on agreement. So we're managing about 1,200 employees, and of course we're encountering a real shortage like other businesses, trying to recruit and retain people in this expensive region. And also there's a teacher shortage that we're dealing with, and the state is helping us with that and asking for input about how can we encourage more people to go into teaching so we can staff our schools. So we're struggling with having substitute shortages. So if you know anybody with a bachelor's degree who would like to have some day-to-day work, maybe part-time, we would love to interview them to be a substitute teacher for our district, but also just for you to be aware that we're really dealing with staffing shortages and how can we recruit more good quality candidates to this region.
And the staffing shortage is severe for the state. At this time, there should be about 77,000 people in credentialing programs. How many are there right now this year? 22,000. That shows you the extent of it. And so it's up and down this state, and of course with us having such an expensive place to live, you have a young person coming out, they have choices. They have places to go. And the number of kids that are coming created a facilities problem. And we'd like to thank this community for passing Measure X, because Measure X is going to allow us to build some new facilities. We're going to add classrooms at George Hall and Sunnybray Elementary to handle the Station Green and the Bay Meadows growth. We're going to be adding classrooms and gyms at our middle schools. We're going to add classrooms by replacing the music classrooms and administration building at Bowditch. Bowditch School is already over-impacted. We already have teachers moving around on carts. So when a teacher has a prep, another teacher comes in and uses that room to teach while that person's out on their prep. So we literally have people rolling around. We're actually going to build 2 schools. We're going to build a small school in North Central where you see San Mateo High School. Across the street from that, there's this lot. It's been a lot for a long time. It doesn't look like anything. It's really actually an eyesore. There's going to be some new school there. And we're looking at building a new school where Charter Square is located in Foster City. So that is a strip mall area that has been semi-successful for a number of years, and it is up for sale, and we're in negotiations for that. So what do we do now that we have the kids, lots of kids, and what are we doing with them? Well, we are ensuring that they are ready to go to college and career. And that may be an odd thing for you to think about. A K-8 district is worried about college and career, but honestly, if we don't do our groundwork, when they go to high school, they cannot catch up. So our thought trajectory has to be all the way to the end of the high school. We have to think through, how do we do that? How do we make them broadly literate, mathematically and scientifically knowledgeable in this world that we're living in? How can they read and write and engage in academic conversations across all content areas? Utilize technology. This is not an option anymore. Every job that we have is going to be utilizing technology. So how do we prepare these students? How do we prepare them for jobs that aren't even here now, that we aren't even thinking about at this moment with how fast things are moving? Well, the state decided that we should have new standards because we've got to up the ante. So we have new standards in language arts, in math, in science. And of course, all of those standards require new books, new materials, different teaching strategies, technology integration. Every school should be using technology in some way as a natural way of teaching kids. And of course, it also means new ways of assessing students to make sure that we're really meeting these needs. And so parents are overloaded with all of this. What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to help our kids? Because it's changed so dramatically from when we were in school, and even these young parents, even when they were in school. So we do have a new website, so please visit it. It is an exciting, wonderful website with lots of interactive opportunities. Molly's department oversees it, and we just set it up, and we have websites for all the schools attached to this website too, so there's parent resources. So, of course, another piece, and it's a big piece, it's an equal goal to academics, is making sure our students are well. Because if they're not well, they are not going to engage with us academically. This is Molly's purview. She'll tell you a little bit about what we're doing.
So we would traditionally think about it: nutrition, exercise, nursing support. We are seeing in our district and in the Bay Area, because I do talk to other districts, a huge rise in the number of students who are diabetic. I mean, it is unreal. So nursing support and day-to-day training is a big part of what we do at our schools. But then we also have the how are we making a change, again, college and career. And so we have two big things that we've put in place at our schools, elementary and middle schools. And the first at our elementary schools is PBIS, Positive Behavior Intervention Strategies. That's a nationally recognized program. And it's all about changing the model so that you've got 20% of behavior, 20% of what we do as schools is the reactive to something that shouldn't have happened, and 80% is the what are we putting in place to have a positive school climate where students rules are explicit, they know what to do, and they want to do it. And restorative practices and restorative circles is what we do it's more the middle school. Because that is where having a good school climate where students are engaged and care about each other is so critical. We're finding an increasing number of students who are really disengaged with the world around them. And school is one of the few places where we have them sort of at our mercy for 6 hours to help them learn how to be engaged. You think that a lot of our students, they leave, they either go home to an empty house, they are doing all their multitude of activities. Parents are not sitting around the table eating and engaging students in dialogue around what was your day, how did things go, and of course we have all the media that our students are really engaged in. So restorative circles and restorative practices is a unique, internationally known practice of way of engaging middle school students in particular. So we're very excited about that. And then the last thing is this year we're really pushing a mental health first aid. You know, we just can't help but see what's happening in the news, and every time there's a shooting or a bomb scare or something, mental health comes up. Who knows how much of that is mental health related, but from our standpoint, can't take any chances. More importantly, we are seeing a huge rise in suicides. And for those of you that read, there's a huge article in Variety from a couple weeks ago, Palo Alto, we all hear about it. But it's not just Palo Alto and the train stations, it's all of us. And in this area, everything that is so beneficial to us as adults, our houses are worth a lot, vibrant, is very hard on our students. So we are initiating a program. We just wrote a grant and received a grant so we can get all our teachers trained in something called mental health first aid, which sort of gives them the first look of, is this child safe within themselves? So we're really excited about that.
Thank you, Molly. Excited about that work. And so all schools provide a certain base program. But we also have a very innovative school district, and our district has additional, what you might call, we have the cake at every school, but the frosting might be a little bit different. So the frosting is that we do run a Mandarin immersion program and a Spanish immersion program. Students are learning language from the minute they come to school in those schools. We have project-based learning, which is really around design thinking, where you imagine a project and carry it through, research it, learn about it, create something. We have LEAD, which is you're voting on today, is our literacy, enrichment, academic, and digital arts, very much involved in use of technology. Parkside has STEAM, that's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. We have Park with math and science, Sunnybrae with international baccalaureate. Middle, we have a K-8 magnet program, which is Montessori program. It is the oldest public school Montessori program
In the United States.
in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so we are very excited about that. We're growing it, actually. We've only ever had one school and a little strand in another school. We are moving to have 2 full schools of Montessori K-8. And at middle school, we carry on some of the programs that we already are doing, our Spanish immersion, our Mandarin immersion, our international baccalaureate, and then the STEAM program. Those things are related to the elementary schools so that the kids have a pathway. And so I say thank you. This is our district in a nutshell. Did I make it in my time?
Yeah,
Woo! I can answer questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
So my grandsons, Connor and Brendan, went to Foster City Schools, and I'm thrilled with the quality of education they got there. It's great.
Thank you.
But on a personal level, I hate their new vacation schedule.
Oh. Now, is that the new one that's this year's this year's calendar?
Because my 2 grandsons now have different vacations. So.
Oh, do they? How would that happen? They're in high school?
One goes to high school now.
Yeah. Okay, so our district ran for many years on 2 completely separate calendars, which that did make our parents really crazy because we had a traditional calendar school and a year-round calendar. So the year-round was you started in end of July, 10 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 10 weeks on, 2 weeks off, like that. And the traditional calendar was the normal calendar that everybody, all of us probably grew up with. So we had 2 of those, and then it didn't match the high school. So someone could actually have a child in an elementary school that was year-round, a middle schooler on our traditional, and then a high schooler, which actually was me with my grandchildren, and I was the one that used to pick up and help with all of that. So we've now gone to 1 calendar and are trying to align it as best we can with the high school. But we do have people who are related to, who do like the year-round. So there was another question? Yes.
2 questions, please.
Yes.
Tell us the background of the diabetic problem. Is it all type 2?
Yes.
It's all type 2?
Oh, no, type 1.
Oh, type 1.
No,
They're
type
just
1.
being discovered? Because they usually, don't the kids know that before they get to school? I don't know.
No, there's we have a lot of children. Well, first of all, we have a lot of people moving into this area. We have a lot of business where people, not only is it attracting people to live here for a long period of time, but also attracting people who will live here, 2 or 3 years on visas. And so we have a lot of diabetics coming from other countries previously undiagnosed because of our system of what you have to have medically to get into school. You have to go to a pediatrician. So, and I'm going to use Russia as an example because we have 3 students that have arrived in the last 3 months from Russia that when they were told, they went to register, they were told, well, you have to go to a pediatrician, okay, new system, they were type 1 diabetes.
Wow.
And then we have a growing number of students, type 1 diabetes that are discovered around 5 and 6. Yeah, a lot of type 1 diabetes children, it is very typical or historically that they would be diagnosed around 2 or 3 years old, maybe 4. But we have a whole slew of them in kindergarten and 1st grade that all of a sudden parents are coming and going, my child is type 1. And for that young of an age, it is quite an undertaking for us to make sure they have the appropriate care.
And you said you had a second question?
How did it evolve that you have some freestanding middle schools and then you have some integrated
Okay. So when we had the Montessori program, K-5, then that was it. It was at the end of that, students went on to one of the traditional middle schools. Well, parents started talking about there are Montessori programs that are in middle schools, middle years programs. And why couldn't we do that? Well, we have these very large middle schools. There's no possibility of switching a huge, large middle school into some type of a Montessori program. So they did some research, and the parents came forward, parents and staff came forward and said, can't we just make our program K-8 and just stay here and continue the programming? So they have. That's actually how it came. It came from staff and parent desire. Yes?
So with technology and just being here in like the Bay Area, you know, Silicon Valley, with the push of technology for the kids, is there an idea where technology is now just going to be in every single kid's face as far as having tablets, computers, and replacing actual physical books? And what do you see there?
So we are really interested in having a nice balance. We want kids to be interactive with one another because that's a skill you have to be able to work in the world. So they need to be able to interact with one another and interact with appropriately with adults. So no, we don't see the tablet taking over. However, when a teacher wants to do a research project, for example, I went into a class, they were all doing a research project on explorers in the world. Well, all the kids don't have to go fight over the few books you might find in their school library. I mean, they can get onto a Chromebook and they can look up all kinds of things about explorers and the world and be able to produce a project. You use a balance. But you do need to use this technology because students have to be able to use it when they go into the workforce. Yes?
Do you have students moving in who don't speak any English at all?
Yes. Yes, we do. 24% of our students are English learners, and I would say that not all of them are non-English speakers, but there is a significant portion.
From what countries?
Oh, we have
About 56 different countries at the last count.
The two big ones we have seen right now are Mandarin, China.
Okay, I couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry, Mandarin, China, and then we also have Russia and Eastern European languages. We have our primary students right now that we're looking for translators for are Mandarin. We don't have such a problem because we've got so many Mandarin, but we're really scrambling for Eastern European languages right now. But we probably have, I mean, I can't think of a single country where we probably don't have at least one child. Because we have Foster City and Gilead is in Foster City and they bring over so many people from other countries on visas, we have quite a mix.
Makes it exciting, yes.
What how are you addressing the ISIS terror situation, the wacko shooter situations, and things along that line? Security, basically.
Yeah. So and as you know from what happened in Los Angeles just this week, we are very aware of the need to be proactive in this way. So all of our schools have mandatory safety plans which they practice. And those include lockdown barricade for being inside. It includes getting out, evacuating should there be a fire or a bomb or anything like that. They practice them regularly. They have multiple staging areas so that they can move out of their school or even off their school campus to another safe place. And we have, of course, a district protocol. Molly leads us in that. We had a district practice just about a month and a half ago, where we have alternative ways of calling through walkie-talkies to all of our sites, our ability to check in. Our police and fire, both in Foster City and San Mateo, work with us regularly on making sure that all of our communication systems are working and that we have a smooth way to communicate and work together. So after that Los Angeles situation, our executive cabinet talked, and I've said, you know, if I were that superintendent and had that on my plate, I would have done the same, because it's you cannot take a chance. And so we won't take chances, and we're going to be as prepared as we can possibly be. And I've got my phone open just in case, because San Francisco got hit with that yesterday. They decided it wasn't credible, so that's good. But we're prepared as best we can be.
I guess who makes that decision, you or the district? Or
so the police will tell us if they think that it's credible, and to what level of credibility it is. You can never be sure, right? And then it would be my decision.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've told my executive team, you're going to gather and we're going to think about this and think about it clearly, but ultimately I have to make that decision.
Good for you. Good for keeping school open, as opposed to panic, you know?
Well, we don't want to panic, that's for sure, but we also have to be safe. Any other questions I might answer? Yes?
Just briefly back on that type 1 diabetic situation. So Jim and I have been to Eastern Europe in certain missions that we belong to the orphanages. And so the kids, there's over 1 million orphans in the Ukraine, Russia, Belarus, places like that. So our finding was that the kids are really good at math and science, and so many of them speak some English. A lot of them are very good. They're behind, of course, on language, but their medical care is inadequate. So it leads to the question now: when these orphan kids, have you run into those that well, maybe you don't know that they're coming from an orphanage, because they have very bad dental and other medical. Yeah. So maybe
I'm going to say actually we do. The reason we know is because very much so the students that are coming in that have been adopted by families, even if they've been adopted by Russian, Ukrainian, a Romanian family there and come over, they have pretty consistently very, very serious health issues. In addition to diabetes, we have a lot of kids with HIV.
Whoa, like
born with it.
Yeah, so that's all this is
and that's how we know, because the parents will say, we adopted them. And I will say, the parents will say, we adopted them knowing they had these health issues. So I really find our parents to be remarkable. Remarkable.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for our